Every time. Every time.
Every time. How's everybody doing today? And welcome back to that comic book review show. I'm JP, and today we're looking at Triple G's pick. It's JLA versus Avengers. We'll go around, say hello everybody. So to my right, left,
Yeah, left.
Luke. I said, hi, Luke.
Hiya, how you doing?
Let everybody know who you are and where you're from.
Well, I'm Luke from Hydra Collectibles, where we let our geek flag fly. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this pick. I didn't think that I was going to make it. I didn't think I was going to find the time, but then some things happened and I thought I should be here. So here I am. I read them all this afternoon, ready to go for this.
Very good. Next to Luke, we have Triple J. How are we doing, mate?
All right. Hi, everybody. I'm Peter from Triple J Comics. Nice to meet you all. Can't wait to get into this. This is a marvelous book. No matter what anybody says, James, this is a tremendous book. So we'll get into it in a bit, I'm sure.
And below Pete, we have James from Comic Dale. How are we doing, James?
Hey, I'm good. I also thought Luke wasn't going to make it, but unfortunately he has.
Wow.
Oh.
And we're off.
There we go. Next to James, looking very patriotic. We have, of course, Past Point Comics. How are you doing, Efren?
What is going on, comic book familia? Hurricane Hillary, whatever. You know, it rained here. It wasn't that bad. It was just heavy rain. You know, I wasn't going to miss this one. I wanted to miss the one from 2 weeks ago. But this one I wasn't going to miss, you know. So I'm here.
I wish I'd missed the one 2 weeks ago.
I was wishing the hair.
And the unique individual who was to blame for last time's show is right below me. How are you doing, Simon?
I'm not too bad. How are we? How is everyone? It's Comic Lad Simon here. There's no water boobies in this one, though, is there? So
yeah, there's wonder boobies.
Wonder boobies.
Yeah.
And of course, we've always got the chat. So big hello to StreamYard if he pops up. There he is. Spytix, how are you doing, Sif? Sorry you couldn't make it, mate. And we've got Hydra. How are you doing, Luke? You there? Fuzzy. Ah, shame. Deadman, how are you doing, mate? You actually thought this was on tomorrow night.
Oh, right.
Well, you read half of it. Very good. Fuzzy, he's got sweets to hand out. And oh, lovely.
Lemon sherbets, Fuzzy. Just call for lemon sherbet.
I bet he's got Weather Originals.
Yeah, Werther's. Fuzzy strikes us as a Werther's kind of guy.
Yeah.
He does, doesn't he?
Yeah.
They're all unwrapped and sticky in his pocket too.
Yeah.
Just rattling about his... Oh, we've got Sean as well. Popping in here.
Sean.
How are you doing, Sean?
Hey, Sean.
Thank you for making it, mate. Yeah, so we're here to talk about JLA versus Avengers, and this is, of course, Pete's pick. It was released in 2003 by Kurt Busiek and art by George Pérez. Pete, do you want to give us the synopsis?
Oh, a lot happens. Yeah. Okay, I've got the little synopsis here. So actually, I think I've got it on a slide, so you can read along at home as well if you want. When universes collide, the two most celebrated superhero teams to ever fight in the name of truth and justice are about to take each other on, and the fate of not one but two entire realities hangs in the balance. After countless millennia of searching, the immortal super scientist Krona is closing in on the solution to the ultimate mystery: what came before the Big Bang? That definitive moment of creation for all that is. Having glimpsed a fraction of the answer once before, Krona will stop at nothing to learn the full truth, including destroying entire universes to discover their hidden secret. I'll not read the rest. But basically, everybody kicks off and there's a bit of a fight.
Just a little bit.
Just a bit of a fight.
So we'll go around and get everybody's overview, and then we'll get into the issues. Let's start with Simon. Give us your overview, mate.
My overview. Yeah, I actually enjoyed this, but it was very different read. to what I usually read. Yeah, a lot goes on. A lot goes on. It's a lot to read, take in. I would say, because there's 4 issues, I preferred issue 1 and 2 over 3 and 4. So,
Right.
but we'll get into it.
Yeah. Efren, your overview, please, mate.
When you guys, or when we first chose this, I went, "Oh my god, I can't wait to read this again." You know, I was all excited, but then I started thinking, God, it's been over 20 years almost since the book came out.
Yeah.
So I put my expectations down a little bit. I enjoyed reading it. There are so many freaking characters in the book and all the splash pages. I went, geez, it's overwhelming. And I'm sure we're going to tip our cap off to George Pérez for putting everything in there, making it look good. You know, but yeah, I mean, I enjoyed reading it again, definitely.
James.
I think overwhelming is a good word for it, because it's nonstop from the go. And anytime it does sort of calm down, it's only for maybe like literally a panel or two. I didn't enjoy it. I thought it was a tough slog to get through. There were some moments I did like. There's some bits, and we'll touch on when we get through those issues, that I did really like. But I just find it hard to read, and it was like a slog. It just took forever to get through. I just wanted it to end, and thankfully it
did. Luke.
There's no denying that some of this was silly, but it was still very entertaining. It gave me a lot of vibes of the original Secret Wars from Marvel Comics. A lot of similarities there, but then also I don't know as much about DC as I do about Marvel. So, I'm seeing a lot of this stuff, and they're going, oh, this is how it could have been, this is how it was, now things have changed, this, that, and the other. But I don't really have a frame of reference to know much about that. But I did like what I read. I did like what I saw. I was very surprised it was only 4 issues.
Yeah. Yeah, Fuzzy's just asking there, is this an algorithm?
No, so Fuzzy, there was, after this, a good few years later, there was another DC Marvel crossover, and then after that kind of created the Amalgam universe, and you got a whole host of mini-series, which was kind of combinations of the characters.
Would that not have come before it? Because I remember...
No, so this was
2003, right?
Yeah, no, this was the original kind of starting point for JLA versus Avengers, and then after that they had like Marvel versus, and then you got kind of like I say the Super Patriot, which was a mixture of Superman and Captain America, and Dark Claw, who was pretty cool, which was Wolverine and Batman and stuff like that.
Yeah. So Pete, your overview, mate.
Okay, so this was my pick. I've got fond memories of this. I've read through it again, albeit rapidly, over the last few days. I think James and Efren are bang on. It is overwhelming. There is so much happens in this series. It's basically, this entire mini series is a kind of a tip of the hat to fans. Basically, it's an effort to squeeze in every version of pretty much every JLA Marvel DC character possibly can, which sometimes means that the actual storyline, I think, becomes quite convoluted and a bit confusing. But they've basically tried to get in as much fan kind of cameos and all that kind of stuff as they possibly can. It's like we were talking about with Simon's book last week. It is a product of its time, I think. It's a 20-year-old book. So it reads like a 20-year-old book. But that said, I think there are some stunning moments in this from a geek point of view, from a guy who's read DC and Marvel all his life. There are some amazing little bits that really, I think, show superb writing. So, for example, I think there's a scene where I haven't put the image on, I think, later on, but there's a scene where this is pre-Winter Soldier. So at this point in Marvel continuity, Bucky is still dead, and there's a scene where Batman's standing in the back, Captain America's standing in the back cave, and he's looking at, the Jason Todd costume, because this was before Jason came back. And I think he just says something along the lines of, "You've lost a partner as well." And for a geek, that's just, I loved that kind of stuff, So yeah, I enjoy the book. I love the artwork. But I absolutely accept that there's an awful lot going on here, and this is not going to win any. It's not a masterpiece in writing like Philadelphia was, for example. This is a kind of an easy flick through book, I think.
Yeah. Fuzzy's just saying there he's got
Yes.
comics from '96. He just bought 3 today.
Yeah. Spider-Boy.
Spider-Boy, Super Sword, Punisher.
Don't want to say I'm right, but I'm right.
Oh, you're right, are you? Was it after, was it?
Yeah, Amalgam was 96, 97.
Ah, right. Okay.
Oh, well.
Tremendous, tremendous run.
Yeah. Like you said, I enjoyed it for what it was. The art, I really enjoyed it. I like George Pérez's art. Like you said, it does get a bit convoluted at times, with the characters swapping out all the time as well.
Yeah.
In one issue, it throws you a bit. And Superman acts like a proper prick in this.
Yeah.
I do feel like Superman could have ended this like that at any minute. Like, we'll get to how it all comes to a close at the end, but like, okay. We'll wait.
Those first, especially the first issue, he was just a full-on dick. He was just.
He really was.
He wasn't entertaining anybody at all.
Yeah, I think they try and say that there's something about. Is it something about the I can't remember, the magic in that universe is affecting him because he's an absolute arse and he's like wanting to attack everybody and stuff, isn't he? Because you're right, it makes no sense.
But what was I going to say there? There are some fun bits in it. Some bits I really enjoyed. But I feel this goes a bit like Flashpoint, where you want to see more, and we'll get to them bits as we go into the issues. It could have been split over more issues as well, but just being a longer run instead of cramped down into 4 books. So yeah, that's my overview. So we'll just go into issue 1. I'm just going to say this for Kurt Busiek, who did the writing. Hats off to him, because I normally write down like the points for each issue, and I struggle doing it. So I'm just going to flick through the comic and just pick out points.
That's because there's so much in each issue, isn't it?
Yeah,
there's a lot. So issue 1, it starts off on this alien planet. These big eyes in the sky turn up, and it's somebody wanting to know the secret, and he's not getting to know that secret, so he just destroys that universe. He then hops to another universe where you get the crime syndicate, and still not getting the whatever secret he wants, so destroys that one. And then you meet up with the Grandmaster, who's just hanging about in space. This guy finally shows himself, and he's called Krona. And that's it. You don't find out anything else. That's the prologue. Each of these comics start with a prologue as well, and that did my head in a little bit. Instead of just giving you the basics of what the story is going to be about, they wait till each issue to give you them bits. It picks up with the JLA fighting this massive robot, and they find out it's not from their universe. And similarly, they go, I will say about the JLA bit, Hal Jordan turns up as a Spectre. And I think this takes part after Hal Jordan dies. Is it Emerald Twilight? The one where Hal Jordan dies?
He dies. Is it Emerald Dawn?
Emerald Dawn.
I think.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
But he's suspected now, and he lets the JLA know that this robot's not from there. And then we go to the Avengers, and they're fighting Starro. And the same thing happens with them. They realize this is not from their universe. Lobo turns up in the She-Ra Empire, and all kinds of madness. And then you get Wally West. He's running, trying to find out where this big robot come from, and he ends up into the Marvel universe, where he helps save a mutant. Doesn't understand why people are against mutants. Tries to run away, he cannot, because the Speed Force doesn't work in the Marvel universe.
This bothered me again. Like, so the same as what we had with Flashpoint, where it was like, well, if he then suddenly loses his powers, how does he get back? Like, I had this problem with the last one, and then again in this, they just kind of it just happens. He just ends up back there. It's all fine.
I never knew how he got there, because how the hell does his Speed Force go to another planet.
That's
like,
similar
with
to
it.
because he's holding on to a bit of this machine and
Yeah.
he's picking up on the
I mean, that's a-
vibrations of that,
That's a
and he's trying to
standard
mirror that.
Flash. I mean, just pretty
Yeah.
much since the Flash was created, that's been one of his powers, Simon, that he can
To go-
vibrate to different realities and things. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so the Watcher turns up the JLA headquarters, and then the Grandmaster turns up and says, look, to save your universe, you've got to go find these 6 items. Was it the Bell-Wheeling Jar, the Eternity Book? I'm going to have to put my glasses on, I can't fucking read that. Medusa Mask. The Spear of Destiny. I'm getting old, stop laughing. The Spear of Destiny. And the Orb of Ra. So on each team they have to find 6 objects. So it's a bit of a treasure hunt for them.
I will say as well, like I was surprised by how this played out because I automatically thought, oh, it's just going to be very even Steven. Like it'll be one way or the other, but it doesn't play out that way. You know, different characters achieve different things, and it's not as evenly spread as I thought that the deal would be between Marvel and DC.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right, mate. There's a lot of characters in this. You couldn't just go off and rhyme them all because one character might appear in one panel and then won't be there in the next. It's just really weird. So anyway, the JLA go to the Marvel universe and basically astounded how bad it is compared to their universe. I think there's one panel there where they split up in teams. One goes to Latvia, where Doctor Doom is, and can't believe he's holding all his people at gunpoint and get them to sing chants to him. And this is a really fun bit because Batman saying, "Oh, it's your mission to all these different teams." Then Batman says the Punisher shooting some drug dealers, and decides to go off and take down Frank. I thought that was a good little bit. Anyway, the JLA end up on Mons Island where Fing Fang Foom is and everything, and they find the Ultimate Nullifier, which is one of the items that you don't get told about straight away. I thought that bothered us and all. You have to wait till after they found it to find out what the Avengers had to seek out as well. So yeah, to get the Ultimate Nullifier and go back to their world. And then this other guy turns up called Metron, who's DC. I think he's like DC equivalent to the Watcher. And he explains everything to the Avengers, how the Grandmaster explained everything to the JLA, that they'll find different things. The Soul Gems, the Wonderwood Tomb, the Cosmic Cube, the Evil Eye, and the Casket of Ancient Winters, and the Ultimate Nullifier. Yeah, and then they go of the DC universe, and Captain America thinks that the superheroes are basically fascists, which I thought was an interesting point. And it comes to a head where they meet up and they start fighting. And one of my favorite scenes is Thor taking down Superman with his hammer. I think he says he puts him through a building.
Yeah.
And that's basically the end of the first book. Fuzzy saying that they aren't sounding very competent heroes so far. They're not really, no, Fuzzy. Deadman saying, Fuzzy, there were 2 volumes of 12 issues of Algorithm. Oh, they're still talking about that. There were 4 issues of the mini. Right. Yeah. Did I miss anything out on that one, Pete? Anything to add?
I don't think so. I think like I say, it's hard because this book, I think, expects you to know a lot about the character. So, for example, you're talking about Krona there. He's a massive character in the DC universe. So, you know, he's a very well-known individual in terms of Crisis on Infinite Earths and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
So it does very much heavily rely on you expecting, I think, that you know who all these different characters are. For a lot of people who perhaps don't know the background and stuff like that, they might not get as much of a thrill out of seeing Starro the Conqueror fighting the Avengers, whereas people who've loved these universes maybe do.
Yeah.
I think you're absolutely right. The characterization of Superman and Captain America in this initially is weird. And I think what they were trying to get at was that with them out of place in their universes, they kind of can't stand the morality of the other universe. And it's purely a plot device to try and make it so they're going to have a fight. Do you know what I mean? But it's not particularly well done, I don't think. For me, the artwork in this issue is stellar. I don't think anybody can criticize George Pérez. His double page spreads are just absolutely phenomenal. Yeah, I enjoyed this issue. I thought it was a good setup issue. It's proper, like we've said, it's proper old school storytelling. You know, good guys. Well, they're all good guys in this. You guys have got to get these items. You guys have got to get these items, and you're going to end up having a fight in the middle. Do you know, it's pretty standard stuff. But yeah, I think it for me it was an interesting first issue.
Yeah. Anybody else want to add anything?
The was it Monster Island or was it Savage Lands?
Monster Island.
Monster Island. Right. Okay. Because I was wondering like how they just got there, like how like. It seems like the minute that they say, "Oh, we're going to do a game or we're going to do a competition or this, that, or the other," things just seem to happen. And I wasn't aware that was anyone's specific power set. Like I didn't think that the Grand Master could just say things and then they would occur. That's very like reality bending stuff, right? I didn't think that was his power.
Yeah, well, you've got to remember the Grand Master is an elder of the universe, so
yeah,
got a lot of power still.
Yeah, I guess I don't know. To me, it just seemed like, oh, we need them over here. Bam, that's it. They're over there, and we don't really explain.
I think it was Flash who took them over. He said he couldn't stay with them because there's no Speed Force there, but he could get them there. And then once they got the item, they get sent back to their own universe.
Who took the Avengers to the DC universe, though? I can't remember.
They've got one of the mother boxes.
That was it. Yeah, Iron Man had.
Stark. Yeah.
So I'm just trying to remember. There was from each universe, a being came to tell them, "Oh, you've got to collect all these items."
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this gets explained in issue 2, Simon, between Corona and the Grand Master with the game, and obviously the Grand Master sets out the rules of the games. All the 6 items on each side. Whichever team gets it first, the other universe gets destroyed. Corona actually does the flip and says, "Well, I want your heroes."
Yeah,
because this first issue they actually don't really bump into each other yet, do they? It's in the second issue where they really
they bump into each other at the end, don't they?
Yeah, right at the end, I think.
Yeah.
So.
James, Efren, anything to add?
I mean, I like the first issue. I just like the way they set everything up. You know, the Watcher showing up, I thought it was cool. Obviously, I read more Marvel books. So the main bad guy, Chrono, right?
Chrono,
yeah.
I didn't know anything about him, his history or where he came from, but he just seemed like a jerk. Like he just wanted, I don't know how powerful he was. Obviously, he was powerful. I mean, but yeah, I didn't know much about that character, so that really didn't faze me as much. You know, I was more like on the Marvel side of things, you know. But yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it. You know, like I said, just the artwork and just George Pérez putting everything together, man, that's overwhelming. I think for any artist, man, that's crazy.
Oh, definitely.
And who knows who the colorist was for this? Also, man, I have to color everything in. That's crazy. You know, there's so much going. I keep on saying this. It's overwhelming. You know, with all these characters. Putting it into just 4 issues, you know, I think it might have been better suited if it was at least 6, you know, stretch it out a little bit more, you know, that's my opinion.
Yeah. I'm just wondering how long they've actually worked on this title. They must have done
no idea.
Ages.
Yeah.
James, anything to add?
Yeah, so wasn't it Metron who gave the Avengers the task? It wasn't Krona. Krona is the one who's behind it all, right? But it's Metron who was him. It's him and the Grandmaster who ends up having this game, isn't it? So, and again, similar to that, I don't know who that was. So it was sort of, you know, I'm just going on my own sort of thoughts on what he is, and I assume he's just sort of some spacefaring being in the DC universe.
He's
So,
one of the
no,
he's one of the new gods. He's one of kind of like Darkseid and all that kind of people.
Right.
I have no idea what that means. I prefer the old gods.
Yeah, they were better. They were
yeah,
better. They were the
they're
classics.
The
Yeah.
classics. Yeah, classics.
Yeah.
No, I think I think there's just so much going on, and it's just beat after beat after beat. It says we got to do this, okay, and then they go and do that, and it's just constant and constant and constant and constant. And yeah, I think I was just losing track on what's happening. Even in the first issue, and it was a long issue. I think you said these books are larger books, and it just kept going. And again, the art, I think the splash pages and everything are amazing, but I think that actually does then take away from the sort of singular panels where like even, and I'm no art critic, but even on that wee panel there where Wonder Woman's talking to Aquaman, even Aquaman's face just looks a bit, just a bit like standard. Do you know what I mean? It's not like
panels,
yeah. So I think the work done in the big action splash panels is phenomenal. But I think that's where all the energy went to.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. That's a valid point, mate. Yeah.
But and then I mean, I don't know he's the Watcher, but literally all he did was stand there and watch. the guy had absolutely nothing else to do.
It's in the title.
That's what it's
kind of his bag, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know, but usually like he does say a few things, doesn't he?
He does, yeah. He turns up. He tends to turn up and say, "I'm the Watcher. I'm not allowed to interfere," and then he kind of interferes.
And he interferes. Yeah, he sticks his wee fingers in.
Yeah,
but no. And this one he doesn't say nothing. He's just like, "Oh, here I'm out. The guys, I'm totally out. I'm just watching this one." But yeah, I mean, it was it did what it set out to do, which was bring two teams together and give it a bit of story. But it I mean, I'd lost interest by the end of this issue already. So.
Champion.
Hey, James, I have a quick question for you. You read this book when it first came out, correct?
No, this is the first time reading it. Yeah. So I think I was thinking this when I was reading. It was probably a bigger deal when it came out because it's a more modern sort of take on the teams getting together. Which and if I remember correctly, it was a big deal when it was released. It
was huge.
It was what people had been asking for it and wanted it, and it was a big thing. So it probably would have been a better read at that point.
Were you looking forward to reading it before you read it?
Yeah, I'd say I was. Yeah, I mean, I'm not a big DC guy, so again, I don't know much like a couple of guys said about the Justice League and things like that. But I think I know enough to get by. Whereas, they're throwing some of these characters in like Metron and Krona. It did sort of put me in the deep end.
Yeah. So just in terms of that kind of the build up for us, this was initially started to be written and fleshed out and drawn in '83.
Wow.
And then various company infights and all the rest of it, it kept getting knocked back. And James is absolutely right. I bow down to his superior knowledge. They then did the amalgam crossover and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
And that kind of reinvigorated. The doors are now open again. Let's revisit this old Avengers JLA crossover.
Because they would have done the Marvel versus DC series.
Marvel versus DC.
One, wasn't it? And then
where we all got to vote.
Yeah.
We got to vote on the winners of the contests and things, didn't we? Which was interesting.
And who the hell's Triathlon? Where'd this guy? I mean, I know I'm a pretty good Marvel reader, but
no, he was from the Pérez and Busiek Avengers run. Do you know when they kind of started everything? The restarted Avengers, Thor, Iron Man, and all the rest of them. Cap.
Yeah.
And he was basically shit. He's based on the old 3D man character, but he didn't last. He didn't stick around very long.
Yeah, Fuzzy's just saying Metron and Krona, totally new to me.
Yeah.
Never heard of them. Yeah, same with most of us, mate. So we'll just go straight on to issue 2 now. And you get another prologue. This time you find out a bit more about Krona and his backstory. He was basically wanting to find the source of the Big Bang or what came before. But his own people didn't like it and cast him out. And it just became this big, massive, omnipotent being. And then you get the back and forth between him and the Grandmaster, where the lay out the plans for this game. That was the prologue. It's going into the comic book. You get the fight between the JLA and the Avengers still going on. The second page is Captain America versus Batman.
Yeah.
And this reminded me of the scene out of Sherlock Holmes between Sherlock and Moriarty, where they start weighing each other up and find out who could win who.
Yeah.
And they just basically come to a stalemate. And like Batman's like, yeah, I'll concede. You'll beat us.
I love that page. I think that's a
I thought that was really, really good. Yeah,
I do believe this is the best book out of the 4. I think there's a lot of good stuff that happens here right from the beginning with this scene with Batman and Captain America all the way through. What a great team up! Like what a great pair to put together.
Yeah,
If you had said to me before reading this, oh yeah, Batman and Captain America team up, I would have been like, yeah, all right, whatever. But this actually works. This was really good.
Yeah. So Cap and Batman decided to take off and do a bit of sleuthing. One is having a bit of trouble for powers because the magic in the DC universe is totally different from the Marvel universe. Still fighting. Yeah, I'm just flicking through it. Justice JLA go back to the Marvel universe to where Metropolis is supposed to be, and it's not there. And it's try to understand how this world's different. And it turns out the DC world's bigger than the Marvel Earth. Hawkeye gets the power battery, Green Lantern power battery. And this is where they starting to keep count, Corona and the Grandmaster. So, and you see the items next to each of them, and Grandmaster says, oh, it's 1-1 now. There's a lot of fighting in this one, and a lot of chasing after everything, and then you get the Batman and Cap in the Batcave.
Yeah, that bit as well.
And they find out that it's Corona wants Galactus, because he was there before the Big Bang.
He was at the birth of the universe, wasn't he?
Yeah, and then the Thing turns up on a flying motorcycle. That was crazy. And he gives it to Batman and Cap, and they go off.
I liked when the Thing made a joke about Batman's big penny.
Yeah.
That's exactly what he said. I thought that was pretty funny.
Wonder's still losing his shit. She can't control the magic. They ended up in Wakanda. You have Yellow Jacket fighting the Elongated Man, and anyway they get the mask, and they're still keeping count as each side gets an item. They end up at the Grandmaster's base, Batman and Cap, and they find the Atom there, and he explains everything to them. You get that bit with Apocalypse when he's got the Infinity Gauntlet.
Yeah.
And he finds out that he cannot use it in that universe. So he's like, oh, yeah, just take it.
Yeah.
It's no good to me. I like that bit. And then that's when they end up on the Savage Land. You have both teams in the Savage Land. What are they going after on this one? The Cosmic Cube. I think they're going after. Yeah. Superman stops Thor's hammer, which was a pretty good panel. Ultimately, though, Captain America knocks, I think it's Hawkeye who gets, Quicksilver gets the cube. Captain America knocks it out of his hand, and then they divulge the information that both sides are getting played. And Galactus turns up, and that's it. I think that's it. It got a bit confusing at the end there.
Well, it's not just Galactus turns up and that's it. Like he kills Galactus. It's what Marvel does. Yeah. It's what Marvel does best when they want to show how powerful someone is. They got to kill Galactus.
Yeah.
And again, it's because Galactus is he predates this universe, and that's the information that this guy wants.
Yeah.
Like
we also get the amazing, I think, amazing fight between Superman and Thor, which for me
Yeah.
is a kind of a fanboy heaven. I loved that. Although I think Thor should have won. But yeah, really enjoyed that. Dead Man's mentioned the graphic novel there, 1986.
Yeah.
Was that one set during World War II, Terry? I think it was like an old school one from memory.
Wasn't it around 94, 95 when they done the Spider-Man and Batman team up book as well?
Yeah, maybe it was.
So there was quite a few of these crossovers going on around.
I've got the Punisher Batman one.
Yeah,
I think they just dotted them out even there. I'm not sure what the date is on that.
yeah.
But yeah, even after the Superman 4 fight, Superman turns around and said that might have been the toughest opponent ever had. Yeah. But yeah, you're right.
What do you guys think? Like, I agree with Peter that he Thor, I reckon, would have won that fight. But what do you guys think?
It's an easy answer. Yes, Superman's very, very strong and all the rest of it. But if you going back to classic Superman, his weaknesses
is magic.
Yeah. And Thor, in essence, is a magical being. His hammers, everything's magical about him. So I think
that was my.
I think there's like laser eye his head off though. Just uses laser eyes.
Laser eyes head off. Yeah. But Superman doesn't kill either, does he? So
I mean,
Thor's a warrior, isn't he?
Right, well, laser arm and arm off or something. Then
we'll get to the whole Superman just use laser eyes later. Yeah. All of this could have been resolved so much earlier.
Yeah. Anything else you want to add, like, Pete?
I love this issue. I thought this was a great issue. Yeah. Again, for someone who's read these comics for years and years, seeing the JLA and the Avengers kind of going toe to toe, I thought was really cool. And again, strong artwork, I thought. So yeah,
absolutely
enjoyed that.
I love that panel there in the Grandmaster's hall.
Yeah.
The giant rock'em sock'em robots. Efren, anything you want to add about this issue?
No, you guys summed it up pretty well. I mean, it's an enjoyable book. Like I said, sometimes when there's a lot of words in a book, sometimes for me, I kind of lose interest. I go, oh my God, who's saying what? And you got to follow the order of it. But for some reason, this one didn't seem that way to me. I think it was just, it brought back a lot of memories of reading this book. It's such a long time ago, so that's why I enjoyed it. And I love, like Peter said, the Thor Superman fight, who would win. I always thought Superman would be more powerful, but now hearing Peter say that his, Superman when it comes to like magical powers, so I kind of tend to agree with Peter there. I think Thor, because he has that hammer too,
Yeah.
So, very interesting.
Yeah, I will just say this because I'm looking at the panels there. When all the items get put together, it was like basically the Grandmaster's plan was to use it to banish Krona. That's why you see them swirling around in that panel there. Simon, any questions?
Not so much questions. Obviously, Galactus dies. I enjoyed this. I enjoyed, obviously, the fights and the fight scenes. There was one character that wasn't in it enough for me, and that could have helped tie the turn, and I think they didn't put him in purposely, and that was the Hulk. Where was he? He's not in any of them really. You see little glimpse of him there, but other than that, he's not really in it. And that was disappointing for me. I was like, I know the Hulk could take Superman easily. So
one thing I did like, it was the banter between Hawkeye and Green Arrow. They're always trying to up each other. I thought that was pretty humorous.
Yeah, that was really cool.
That.
Yeah. Plus, he's just saying Superman would beat Fat Thor, though, easy.
Oh, definitely, yeah. And Thor from Love and Thunder. I mean, Simon makes a good point there about Hulk, but I can't remember at this point in time when this book came out what the status quo was with Hulk.
I was going to ask where he was.
Like you see him in?
Was he something else? Like what
you see like one panel of the Hulk in the first issue, and he's just eating stuff.
Yeah. I wonder if this was Joe Fix's days or something. Or I can't remember.
He is in it as a
load of Maxi Y. Thanks for joining. Sorry,
James. There's one panel where he is in it, just as like green angry Hulk, but then it's I think it's in issue 4 where everyone's sort of changing their
that's
so
right. Yeah,
God knows what what he is at that point, but
well, on to issue 3 then.
I mean, just before we move on, Simon's absolutely wrong. The Hulk kind of Superman.
Shut up.
What are you
Of course
talking
he
about?
can. Yes, he
It's
could.
madness.
Yeah,
Madness.
it's
No,
all.
you
I-
can't.
Do you know what? I
It
do
just-
agree with Simon. I
Yeah,
do.
he's
Because
a raw.
even if
His
even-
Gamma.
have
Gamma's
you
like.
seen the YouTube CGI?
Yeah,
fan
it's
made
very
clip?
cool.
It's so
Yeah.
good. But I
Yeah.
mean,
I haven't
even if
seen that,
Superman grabbed Hulk, like we've seen the Silver Surfer grab Hulk and take him up into space and throw him into the sun and all sorts. What really else can happen to him? Like if we're talking about the Hulk that we've had all these years, like the Immortal Hulk and everything else, there's no way that Superman could beat him.
Mhm.
Yeah. Deadman's just saying they did an oversized Hulk Superman.
Yeah, they did. It was very good. It was very cool.
Yeah.
Look at that cover, man. That's just a
Oh,
wet
what?
dream. That.
Mm.
Got that
And in the
poster
back
to
of
say that.
the
They
back
didn't
of the
do,
graphic
they
novel.
didn't do Virgin covers then, did they?
No, not back in those days. But in the back of the graphic novel, I think Efren shared a picture. I'll just show you in the back of the graphic novels. You get kind of a key, so it tells you who every one of the characters is.
Right.
Which I love. And there's just so many characters on there. It's incredible.
Simon, we all know you're good at naming characters.
Off you
Take it
go.
away.
Off you go.
Every one of them, Simon. Go.
Start from the top
Everyone.
left, make your way down.
That'll fill out like 2 days
I
worth
do
of
know my
content.
DC though. So
You do what?
There's-
I do know my DC. So
Yeah.
yeah,
That's good to know.
I reckon I could get the majority of those
you reckon?
because I've
I
got
reckon I
the in
wouldn't do
front of
too
us.
well.
Yeah,
You cheated.
you-
is that
you've got
why?
the-
Hey, Fuzzy saying Bruce had an appointment at the DVLA.
Right. Got you.
That's why it was.
Oh, I love.
Yeah,
him.
so we start issue 3. This is what I was on about missed opportunities. I would have loved to see how they got Doom into the source wall.
He's always been in the source wall though. I think he's in DC they've always shown Doom as part of the source wall. So even though Doom's still alive in the other universe, so
Have they?
yeah,
Really?
yeah, DC. I guarantee it.
So I know when Dark Knight's Metal come
Doctor
out.
Doom. Hang on. Doctor Doom from Marvel Comics has
Mhm.
always been in the DC source wall.
Yes.
How do you? I mean, isn't how to? What? Wait, I don't believe you. Sorry.
Right,
Look
there,
it up.
there.
Look it up.
Don't they need permission from Marvel to do that?
I
or-
don't know if they need permission because, like, didn't Todd McFarlane do a Spawn issue where like all the heroes' hands were reaching out from like a cage
Yeah.
once? So you
Yes, he did.
So
Yes.
you don't. I don't think you need permission, but I am curious. Like, it's a bold statement, Simon. It's a bold statement.
I've seen him in the source
I-
wall before. So
But I don't flat out doubt you. So I think
Flash
you
was
need-
also. There was a really cool. Do you remember a character called? I always get his name wrong. Is it Quasar or Quasar? I call him Quasar.
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 Quasar, yeah. There's a very cool issue of Quasar where they're doing this massive run because his friend, who's one of the Eternals, is a speedster, and you've got all of the Marvel Universe speedsters running, and then just before the end of the race, there's a lightning bolt hits the track, and there's a guy who can't remember his name. He thinks he's called Buried Alien, and he's costumed in tatters, and it's obviously the Flash. It's a red and
Yeah.
gold costume, and he just flies past everybody and wins the race. It's tremendous, very cool.
If they don't need permission, why? But they can't be on a regular comic book.
No, but they can't
No,
name
not
them, so
regular.
they
Can't
can't make
name them.
reference or name them. But you could draw
Oh.
a character that looks similar
Okay,
and
gotcha.
have it in the background.
Fuzzy's just saying there, Simon rewriting comic book history again. Seeing him once isn't the same as he's always there. Apparently he's always there, Fuzzy.
he's always there.
But yeah, I would have loved to see that as a comic book. How they got him into the source wall anyway. That would have been pretty epic. You find out Hawkeye's joined the JLA. He's went over there full time.
Sorry, GP, just to interrupt.
Oh, go ahead, mate.
News just in. If quick Google, is Doctor Doom being imprisoned in the source wall canon? No, it's a single image from JLA Avengers crossover.
Oh, well, I've seen him somewhere else. That's where I have.
In your dreams.
Yeah, or a Doctor Doom comic, maybe.
Never mind. Nice try, Simon.
I know.
You'll prove we're wrong in a
still
bit.
believe him.
Google it.
I
He'll
still
come
believe
up
him.
with a Simonism one day and it'll be right.
Yeah.
I don't even know what a source wall is, so I believe him.
I'm not convinced Simon knows what the source wall is. Either.
Well, yeah, it's the end of the universe in the DC universe.
Well
Yeah.
done. Well done.
So,
Yeah, Fuzzy's saying you can't copy someone's likeness. That's still copyright, Simon. But no, because a lot of people want about the Source Wall when Dark Knight's Metal come out. And they wonder if you're going to see Doctor Doom in it. 'Cause I don't think it's being touched upon a lot in DC since this. I could be
Darkseid's
wrong.
often in the Source Wall. You often see him in the Source Wall.
yeah.
Yeah,
Never mind.
never mind.
Can
Then
we
you
put
get the
Simon
Avengers.
in the YouTube source wall?
It may happen one day, Lou. Then we get the Avengers taking down Brainiac, and they go back and forth, the Avengers and the JLA. But Cap starts to lose it a bit. He's starting noticing things aren't quite right.
Yeah.
And this is where it gets a bit convoluted at this point, because you get time slips, you get placement slips, then in one place they go back to another. And it just basically Cap and Superman start getting angry at everything. And I think it's Cap absolutely blows his shit. And he squares up to Superman, to be fair.
Yeah.
And what happened then?
Superman starts on him, doesn't he?
So like
Yeah.
they're
and
so
Cap's
they're
not backing down.
They're so entwined within their universes, right? That when all these changes are occurring, they feel that something is off, and that's what's triggering these impulses in them, right? I wonder why it didn't. I mean, I get that they're like your two prime characters for both universes. They're like your salute the flag golden boys. But I do wonder why it didn't happen with some of the other characters.
Yeah. But
I
they
don't know if
couldn't-
it's because they're the most kind of virtuous kind of characters for some reason or whatever. I don't know. It's not explained in the book, I don't think.
So one thing that confused me about this issue, when they were showing the history of what happened to them, they didn't know about it, or this didn't happen to them yet. So that's what confused me a little bit. I thought this was their past, and they just didn't know about it, or
Their pasts have been rewritten, right? So
Yeah,
this
it's
is how it would have been.
So you
Or
find
how it
out.
could have
I
gone.
think you find out later on in this issue that both worlds are starting to collide together.
Yeah.
So everything's getting jumbled up. So all the pasts are getting intermingled and everything, and this is why it all keeps changing.
So all of the backstories have been basically erased and kind of they've got a joint history, as it were. And then now they're seeing what the reality is, which is why it's kind of devastating for Superman to see his death and Captain America and that horrendous armor story.
Yeah.
Some characters are brought back to life, like the Flash, you know.
Yeah.
Which
Al
makes
Jordan
it so much.
comes back.
It makes it
and
so much
Barry.
harder later on. Yeah, I don't want to get too far ahead, but like you're basically told, well, if it all goes back to normal, you're gone, and they go, oh yeah, I'm fine with that.
the Hank Pym and Wasp one though at the bottom, that I was like, whoa, that's deep. You know, they didn't know.
Yeah.
Oh, yikes.
I think Wanda's seeing her kids as well. That was the big.
Yeah.
Hello to Phil, and I'm not going to try and pronounce your name. Sorry. TNMA. Yeah. But hello and welcome.
Loyal subscribers, TP.
Yeah. So you made us lose. Yeah. So we see all them images there of what's supposed to be. Was it the Phantom Stranger? Yeah, the Phantom Stranger turns up and takes him to this place, and takes him to the Grandmaster who's dying, and that's when they get to see all the past events as how they should be. Yeah, just looking through here, and yeah, this is where they decide to join forces properly and go after Krona. And that's
it also snowed. And snow brought ghosts.
It did snow, yeah.
What?
But I kind of basically explained that because both worlds are crashing into.
This is the White Winter, right? That they wrote about years and years later in Donny Cates' Thor run. That's what that is, surely.
No, is that not
all been
I don't know. Look, I've never read
Crisis on Infinite Earths, isn't it? It's the I don't know, making it up. Crisis on Infinite Earths is when it kind of all goes white and you see that the black shadow specters and all that kind of stuff.
Right. Could be.
Snow ghosts.
Snow Ghost.
Like, I thought water boobs were bad enough. Now we've got snow
Water,
ghosts.
yeah, Snow Ghosts aren't quite as good as water boobs. Basically,
No.
that's all you need to know.
Channel that's got it all. Water boobs
Yeah.
and snow ghosts.
You know,
Do you want to add anything to this issue, Pete?
Nah. I'm just waiting. Simon's about to speak, so I'm just bracing myself.
Go for it, Simon.
So you know they took a while to make these comics. I don't think this one is as well drawn as the first two. So do you think it was rushed or?
I mean, absolutely not.
I don't know. Honestly, if you look at them, some of the faces and stuff, they're not as good as the first two issues.
Really?
Yeah.
I found the story in the second issue just superior, but other than that, I think the artwork's consistent throughout.
I don't know.
I think it's like what James was saying about issue 2, where like you get some of the smaller panels and the faces don't look quite right.
I mean,
I just think all the efforts in the big
yeah.
scenes and the big pages and stuff, and then some of them just maybe just as comparison just don't look as well.
I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying, but you're wrong. But for me,
I don't think it's bad. It's just not.
For me, when I look at this, Efren, come to my help here. You're an older gentleman. For me, when I look at this artwork, this is just classic Perez. All of the images are classic Perez. You know, I don't see any. Yeah, I guess it's just his style.
I agree with you. I mean, just the bright, and especially the colorists. I mean, these pictures are just right in your face. I love this artwork, and it's just, but it's like I keep going back, but it's just so overwhelming looking at all these.
Yeah, there's a lot on each page, isn't there? Yeah, you're absolutely right. There's so much, and each page is just crammed with all kinds of stuff.
And I can imagine any artist writing, drawing this, screen by screen, so it probably gets tired every now and then of drawing this. He's got to take breaks because it's just so much thrown at you. It's only 4 issues. Just so much that he has to put in, but it's like I said, it's just overwhelming.
I think this issue was like the hardest to get through for me.
Yeah,
I think it just it drags. I just flicked through it there, and there's like 12 pages of snow ghosts and them discussing what's happening.
Yeah,
in terms of the 2 worlds are colliding, and it just took too long to get through that. Like that could have been done a lot quicker.
It's a lot to take in this issue as well when you get to these later panels.
And again, for me, this read very much as them trying to just cram as many different versions of characters in as they possibly could. So you get to see all of the different versions of the JLA, all the different costume changes, all that kind of stuff, and you lose the story with that, I think. Fuzzy, I wouldn't rule it out, mate. You can pick it up or get it online or whatever. It's worth a flick through, even just to look at the artwork.
Oh, definitely,
I have to say, on this third issue, that my favourite panel's one with the 2 Earths colliding, like pushing together. That one. I do think, like with James is saying, with the snow ghost and all that, I skipped a lot of that because I just couldn't be bothered.
George Pérez does space scenes really well, though.
See the panel where the Earth, like the two Earths were being collided, and Iron Man and Superman were in space. Yeah, brilliant. That's such a good panel. That's like perhaps our double splash, isn't it? But that's the thing. There are some moments, and like I'm not saying it's not a good book. It's just there are some moments in there I enjoy. But
well, James, that was such a good panel because it wasn't overcrowded. I mean, I agree with you. Great splash shot. Yes.
Yeah, it's pretty much a feast for the eyes, some of the panels. Just to go through and look at which characters in each panel. Fuzzy saying you can tell it's not his jam. But is it your peanut butter?
No more movies.
And that'll take us on to the final issue.
Fuzzy's just realised he's a moderator. God help him.
That's it now. It's all go.
You have, Fuzzy. You're being deputised.
Use the power wisely.
Please use the power wisely.
I did enjoy though that each book had its own, like the subtitles, but they were like the old comic names. There was like Strange Tales, and there was like The Brave and the Bold, and
Journey into Mystery.
Yeah, Journey into Mystery. That was nice. That was fun.
Yeah. So this final issue is The Brave and the Bold. yeah, you get Corona still blabbering on about wanting to know the secret, and the Earth still crashing. Yeah, and you get a lot of heroes trying to rescue people in New York City and trying to sort things out while it's all going to crap. You've got powers, Fuzzy. Yeah, you know.
That's the
Use
picture
them
of him on
wisely.
the cover of this book with his spanner in his
There you go.
hand.
There you go. There you
Does
go,
Justice League have a catchphrase? I don't know. Do they?
I don't think they do.
Yeah, but I was surprised that they just said Avengers Assemble. You could see all the, Superman, saying it, and Wonder Woman.
I don't think they do. I don't think they do, Ephraim.
No.
No. But yeah, anyway, the JLA and the Avengers come up with a plan to take down Corona. And then once they get there, it's just all out fighting. You see Galactus being turned into a base. So,
That was cool.
so like Bannister's skull air chair. He's now a friggin' base, which I thought was an awesome panel.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just basically trying to take down Corona, and I really like this splash page as well with the Avengers Assemble bit on it, because to put Cap in charge, which I thought was good, and Cap gives Superman his shield. Yeah.
Okay, I have issues with one thing about issue number 4 is when Superman gets Thor's hammer and he feels all this power.
Yeah.
And it's just like one page, and after that, he gets blown back, and that's it. I'm going, come on, show him do something with the hammer more than just tearing down a wall. He could have done it with his fist, after a while.
And the thing is, Ephraim, that's the only time he gets to use it as well.
Yeah,
I thought again after that.
He has the hammer do something, show how powerful you are, but they do it like 2 scenes, and then that's it. I was like, oh man, they blew an opportunity with that. I think.
Yeah, and I'm sorry,
Absolutely.
I'm sorry, Pete.
What?
Thor's dialogue in this comic, just did absolutely nothing for me.
Yeah.
Well, that's classic Thor, isn't it?
I know.
Yeah, the kind of the Shakespearean speak. He's kind of lost that over the years. Ephraim, I think you're absolutely right, mate. I think they totally underuse that.
Yeah.
And the bit that irritates us, I think, most out of all of this is we all know that Molyneux's got the kind of the, only worthy people can lift it. And it was great to see Superman wielding the hammer, but then they kind of pull it out of his hands at the end of the issue and he can't lift it. Yeah. And Thor makes some crack about, you can only use it now and then or whatever. That to me was bullshit. It was like, if you've shown that the most virtuous character in the DCU can use it, just let him be known to be able to use it.
Yeah,
I didn't like that.
I think Thor says it like this. He goes, me father's smart. He gives out worthies when they need it the most.
Yeah, which is shite.
Yeah,
it's just a get out of jail free card, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I have some.
Big hello, Grey Man. How you doing, mate? Thanks for joining.
Grey
Man. Yes, Simon.
I have some bugbears. I know we've got a lot of characters here, and it's hard to shove a lot of it in. But when they were building the ship, there was not enough of the Fantastic Four. Mr. Fantastic's one of the smartest guys in the Avengers universe, and he wasn't utilized enough.
But this is JLA versus the Avengers.
Not the Fantastic Four.
I suppose.
The whole point of all the characters, they're all either JLA or Avengers.
Okay, so they don't have the X-Men in. Why is the Beast there on that little panel?
He was an Avenger. He was an Avenger, Simon.
He's not in it enough. Then he's not in it.
Listen, in fairness to Simon, if the thing can roll up with and give them the bike that they built, why can't Mr. Fantastic roll up and help them build the ship? You can't. You gotta weigh it up.
Fuzzy's just informed us all now. It's Sheriff Fuzz from now on.
Respect my forte.
Not letting power go to his head at all. But yeah, you get a lot of swapping out of characters during this battle. Time slips again. You see Superman go through different stages. The one where he's like blue and white, and then the one for his mullet. And ultimately they get the Corona. And I can't even remember how they took him down, to be fair.
They took him down.
Because you know why? Because you had to read 40 pages of fighting.
It possibly could be,
before
trying to recruit and get in time for the show.
The way they took him down, it was Hawkeye shot that orb
Yeah.
Put a hole
Oh
in it.
yes, that was a definitely. Yeah, no,
But
you're
I was
totally
like,
right.
that's it. That's how you take him out. I thought he would keep
With a TNT arrow.
Yeah.
It's like,
And this
it's
is-
like a TNT arrow. He's not. He's like it's like he's not 10 years old. Okay, it's just called an explosive arrow. It's not a
He's a
TNT
fucking Looney
arrow.
Tune.
What?
This is
I know,
exactly
it's
what
like
I was. This is exactly
Just
what I
get
was
Wile E.
referring
Coyote
to.
in there.
TNT.
TNT.
Like my 5-year-old's obsessed with TNT, and it's just it just doesn't make any sense. That's why it's so funny to me. But it's just TNT.
I did like the talk between the Flash and Green Lantern in this. So
Yeah.
ready to set up towards the end. So
No, you're absolutely right, Simon. That was a good bit with Barry and Hal saying about that they're not bothered that they're going to die
their
again.
futures, didn't they? So yeah.
Yeah, the safe hands. Speaking of Hal, that's how the two Earths get separated. He's back as a Spectre, and he just basically pulls the two worlds apart, which is an absolutely brilliant panel as well.
So I had a favorite part in this GP this issue. I hated it, but I had two parts that I enjoyed. Okay, there was one, and this is just me because I'm childish. There was a part where Hawkeye and Flash, they appeared to have died, and it's the back of Captain America, who's in his US agent outfit at that point, which is quite funny.
That's right, yeah.
And it just says, "We'll mourn you later, Clint," but it's so small, and I've got really bad eyesight, where I thought he said, "We'll see you later, CUNT." So
really?
Because I remember there was an interview with Kevin Eastman, I think it was, who says it, or was it? It was somebody said you don't name a comic character Clint because when it's all put together, because they were planning on calling one of the turtles Clint Eastwood or something, I think it said, or I think that was like a classic thing. They said you don't call a comic character Clint because when you put those letters together, it looks like a bad word. And that was the first time I've noticed it in an actual book, so fair play to that. And then the other one.
Now I got to reread that, James. Thanks.
Yeah, definitely.
Page, I don't know what page it is. It's when they die. Right? And then there was a part where somebody shouts, "Captain Marvel, do that," and then the two Captain Marvels from DC.
Oh
like, yep. On it.
I like that one as well.
On it. That was a nice little sort of touch. I like that. The old Captain Marvel history.
Yeah. I did like that panel as well, James. Fuzzy's just having the time of his life in the chat here. Did man saying RoboCop isn't in the JLA or the Avengers?
Where's RoboCop?
He's joking. He's joking.
And Grey Man saying what a Clint. Has to be one. And that brings us. Everybody disappears and go back to their own worlds. Superman salutes Captain America.
And some characters go back to being dead. Like...
Some characters go back to being dead, and some characters are brought back to life.
Yeah.
And then you get Metron and Grandmaster at the end talking about this other game that they've been playing all along. It was a game within a game. But in the end result was you get an egg, the cosmic egg, which Corona is inside. And what's his name again? Metron?
Yeah.
Saying, I'll just wait for it to hatch. And it never bloody does. So there you go.
You make me look at this.
Oh, yeah.
Make them big.
It does, yeah.
There you go.
Oh, there you go.
There you go. Yeah. So I was reading that. I was like, "Jeez, Captain America."
How do I get
it? There's no need to be like that. I thought
I don't like the way they said bye to each other. They just saluted each other. I was like, God, that's it. They just and they're done. I think what would have been cool, but they wouldn't do this if some of the characters would have switched universes for a couple of months.
That would have been good. Yeah.
Why don't we switch them around just for a couple of months and then we'll bring them back though. I think that would have been pretty cool.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. Pete, is there anything else you want to add for this last issue?
No, I mean, I enjoyed this last issue. I love the fact that it's Hawkeye that saves the day. I think there's something special about the fact that it's the weakest Avenger takes out the biggest bad.
Hey,
I always like,
Avenger.
I always like that kind of story. But yeah, I quite enjoyed this. I do think for me this makes us quite nostalgic for the old DC Marvel crossovers. I think it's sad that the companies in the current state we can't revisit some of these, because James mentioned the Amalgamam universe earlier in the show. That was a tremendous set of characters. Some of those were superb, you know. I would love to have seen them continue on.
I'm going to be honest, Pete. I didn't like them comics.
Oh, I thought some of them. I mean, some of them were trash, mate, but some of them, Dark Claw in particular, was very good. Speed Demon was good. You know, there was some very cool ones.
I kind of don't want to see them ever back together again, especially the Avengers and Justice League. America, and the one reason is there's too many characters.
Yeah.
And I would like to see one-on-one or like Marvel team-ups, you know, like something like that, you know, one-on-one I would like to see. But both of them together again is just too much.
I think you're absolutely right, Efren. I think this book suffers from trying to cram too much character into it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that becomes diluted.
Yep. I think if they were doing it in modern time, I think it would be smarter writing compared to what it was before. I think the way, obviously, if this book was in production for a long time, it to me, when I was reading it, I swore it was like a mid-90s book, because it was just bam, 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 bam.
Yeah.
It was just that, right? It was just superhero writing the whole way through. There was no, there was nothing in it that sort of give you a different perspective on a superhero genre. It was literally just, this is a superhero book. They're going to fight. Here's why they're fighting. They're going to become friends. Here's why they're friends, and it's done. There was no real stakes in it. There was no, nothing to make you think outside of this is a superhero book. If they were to do it now, with the way books are written now, with the way the writers write books now, I think it could be a lot better. It could be very different. And I hope that something like that does come along again. But as Grayman said, there's no depth. There was no depth.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the problem when you've got the two kind of big companies crossing over, neither company really want any really lasting impact on the characters, do they? Do you know what I mean? Because they want to protect the brand, as it were. So that kind of means that you're right. There's never going to be any weight to this, because at the end of the day, everything's going to go back to normal. You're not going to kill off any big characters or anything.
But even at modern events as well, with the King in Black stuff, and that for the first issue and that came out, I was like, this is just going to be a typical event, and at the end, everything's going to go back to normal, and nothing. The stakes aren't going to matter, and essentially it had, apart from Venom changing slightly, but it was.
It's like they don't dare do a House of M anymore, so.
Well, that's the thing with Monday events. They do them and there's no impact after so it's just pointless. It's just something for them to churn out to make money now. It's nothing.
Yeah, but you get a smarter writer writing them.
Absolutely.
There is a change. Like Civil War. Civil War was a very good event.
Yeah. I'll just quickly catch up on the chat there. Fuzzy saying all that for an egg. Yeah.
Yeah, I've done worse for an egg, mate. I've done worse for an egg.
If it's a cream egg, I'd definitely.
What?
Don't even start me, Peter.
I'll smash 2 well together for a cream egg.
Graham,
I'm saying maybe one day in a buyout they'll be owned by the same parent company.
Yeah, maybe.
Quite possibly.
Maybe.
Yeah. Fuzzy saying the story didn't out for him. Graham had no death. Fuzzy saying, please choose a good book next time. It's random, Fuzzy. We spin a wheel. Stay at the end and you find out. Do martial law next time.
I've never read that, mate.
Never read it.
Yeah, never read martial law.
We should have Fuzzy pick the next book for us. So.
So we'll come to final thought. We'll start with Luke. Your final thought on this book, mate.
Like I said in the beginning, it's no doubt there's some silly things to it, and I mean, Hawkeye took out the bad guy with an arrow. I mean, you got Superman right there, could have used his laser sight, could have done anything. Like it's very anticlimactic once you realize that's what you get. You sit through all of that, like you say, for 4 issues, and that's the end of it. And I agree, it is nice that the human character was the one that kind of saved the day compared to all these other more super beings. But yeah, it is what it is, I guess. So I enjoyed what I read, but I wouldn't go back, and I don't think that I could hand on heart recommend it to someone.
Yeah. So what would your score be then, Luke?
I would give it a 3.
Wow.
A 3.
3
Oh.
out of 10.
Yeah, because I think 5 is like
Wow.
5 is like your middle of the road. Like I don't know
That
enough
was-
about these characters.
What did
That
we
was
give
worse-
Water
That was
Booby?
worse than I was going to score it.
Yeah. What did we give Water Booby? Oh, you
I
were
don't think Luke was on Water Boobies.
Yeah.
No, I wasn't on there. But like maybe that would change if I knew more about all these DC characters.
Right.
Like for me, there was so much on the page, and I was just picking out. Oh, I know that character. I know this one, and that was it. Like,
Yeah.
so it's not. It's just not my book. Much like Fuzzy said, it's not his jam. This book was not written for me in mind. I'm not a DC/Marvel fan. I'm one-sided.
Yeah, well, no, fair enough, mate. There wasn't enough Spider-Man in it.
Not enough Spider-Man,
Not enough
exactly.
Spider-Man.
That's what
But
it is.
But he wasn't
was a
an
little.
Avenger.
He was a little bit of
Even
Spider-Man.
a little
He was
bit.
a
A
little
little
bit
bit
of
of
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
Simon, we'll come to your final thoughts and scores, mate.
Yeah, it's intriguing to see. I'm glad they've done it. You know, it's one of those books that's out there, and you can say, "Oh, look, there was, JLA versus Avengers and things like that." I'm disappointed that obviously there was not enough Hulk and not enough cosmic beings as well. Like obviously Galactus just got annihilated quite quick by Kronos and things like that. There's a lot more Galactus beings that could have intervened and stopped them playing their game, but and like I said, really the first two, it was JLA versus Avengers in the first 2 issues, and then the other 2 issues was just working together. So yeah, that's my thoughts on it really. So
Yeah. And what's your score, something, Simon?
I shall give it a 4.5.
4.5.
Wow.
Wow. Pete's getting.
It's because I've set the bar now, haven't I?
Yeah, I think he's a mental. Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. If we were just talking about artwork and we were saying like for the imagery that you see and all that lot, it is fantastic. But like I say, for me, the story was these 2 lesser beings. I don't think they're the greatest beings to be playing this sort of game. Like Simon just said, there's higher beings up there that could have stopped all this. Like, where was the Living Tribunal in all this, for example?
Can I just remind you that you've been complaining all show that there's too many characters? Now you all want more characters in the book.
And
No,
I
I'm
didn't
not
even mention
complaining.
Eternity.
I'm not
Eternity's
complaining.
been in it.
I wasn't complaining that there was too many characters. I just didn't know who any of them were.
You wanted more characters that you've seen.
Yeah, because then I
Fair
know
play.
it's a bit like when you play Pokemon and you only know Gen 1. Like, I have no idea what the power set is for any of these characters. It's really difficult to place it. But yeah, I'll
fair
let
enough,
you
mate.
guys bump it
That's
back up
fair enough.
again.
Efren, final
Um,
thoughts and score.
Gosh, man, I had it at a much higher score before I read it again because it just brought back a lot of memories. But when I was reading it, keep on going back to it, just being overwhelmed by all the artwork being thrown out of her face, and there's so many characters in issue 3 and 4 when they started just switching their costumes and stuff like that. That I didn't really like that because it just got a little bit confusing to me. So as much as I wanted to give it a higher grade, I'm not. But I am going to give it a 6.
That's fair enough, mate. Yeah. And James.
I just didn't enjoy the experience of reading that book, and I think again, based on, and I say like 2003 sounds like a modern book, but then when you factor in it's 20 years ago, it's not really. So it definitely felt like a mid 90s book to me, and comics have evolved so much from there, and you can probably see like the scores that we've been giving comics recently, like the more modern books are getting the higher scores.
Yeah,
it's just smarter. It's smarter writing, and I think that detracts from when we go back and read these older books. So I think if I had read this at the time, I probably would have enjoyed it. And I just didn't enjoy much about it. The art was great in places and okay in others, and the story was just so convoluted that it was just hard to keep up and follow. I also do find myself saying that a lot, so I think it's just me. But yeah, it's just I think there was too much going on. I was too busy, and I just didn't enjoy it. Didn't enjoy the experience. So I've set on a 4. I was going to go with 4. The 4 is score.
Yeah, no problem. And Pete.
I think James has hit it on the head. Really, it is very much a product of its time. It's an older book. It's an older story. It doesn't in all honesty, it doesn't hold up to modern storytelling. It's a very by the numbers, issue by issue kind of thing. I think the artwork is stunning, but I'm a big fan of George Pérez, so each to their own. And it reads to me, having gone back and flicked through, it reads to me almost like it's like reading a Where's Wally. I get pleasure from each page, kind of spotting another character or another iteration of a character. I don't think it's a masterpiece by any stretch, but I do think it's a decent read. So for me, it's a 6.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Just before I get to my score, I'll just quickly catch up on the comments. Fuzzy saying, even the art was too much for him. Greyman is saying, I have never visited it myself. Sure, it was not that great. All glitz and big names meeting up, but nothing that live long in the mind. True.
Yeah,
and new viewer, Jitter Block, just saying the Gwen animation. Well, thank you for joining us on this one. Yeah, I think I'm at the same place as all you, at a 6. Like I said, it did feel convoluted to me. There was just a lot going on. Absolutely enjoyed George Pérez's artwork. Do doff me cap to Kurt Busiek though for getting this story done and on paper, because it is a lot. So yeah, definitely
is he
for me.
Is he still out there? Is he still writing? Kurt Busiek?
I'm not sure.
Because he did the Avengers run for a while, and I know he was like one of Marvel's biggest writers, wasn't he? But I don't know what he's done. I don't know if he's doing anything now.
I don't know, but I think this has been, for me, because of the hype of this book, has been the most disappointing read. It just has. For some reason, it's overwhelming. Who would want to tackle writing a story like this, man? It's
huge.
It's a lot, mate. Yeah. Well, good news, Pete. It's made it to the top 10.
Oh, good.
By 1 point.
Wow.
It's an average of 4.9.
Wow. What did Water Boobies get?
4.8.
I mean, that's fucking mental. I have to say, that is mental. If you think, wow.
It's still there, Pete. It's still there. Don't worry. Let's see what's coming up next. We'll spin the wheel.
Spin that wheel.
Can't see that.
What's this?
You'll pop it.
TMNT body count.
Okay.
So James is picked next time.
Oh, jeez.
I've never read a TMNT book in my life.
This is
the Last Ronin. I read the Last Ronin. Yeah.
This is probably the wrong book to start with.
I, for one, I'm looking forward to that one.
No, I did read the Last Ronin, which I enjoyed.
A brilliant effort. Yeah. We'll go around and see what everybody's got coming up on their channels. Luke.
So I've actually got a TMNT video coming up. So that goes out on Friday. And I'm doing a comparison between the original Mirage stories and the 1990s live action movie. So I'm basically pinpointing what sections of those comics tie in with that movie. I'm quite proud of it. I spent a lot of time editing this one. So I've got clips from the movie and comic book pictures and everything all going into that. So that comes out on Friday at around 4 p.m. our time.
Brilliant. Pete, do you want to go through your big list?
Yeah. Sorry, just looking at Kurt Busiek. I can't pronounce his surname.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's writing anything at the moment, but I hadn't realised he wrote Marvels with Alex Ross. Original Thunderbolts, Untold Tales of Spider-Man, Web of Spider-Man, What If. He's done tons. I knew he was one of the bigger writers back in the day. Darkman, he wrote the Darkman miniseries. Yeah. Okay. Good stuff.
Astro City was a big one, wasn't it? Astro City was a big one.
Yeah, Astro City. Yeah, he did that. I've never read that. I've never picked up an issue of that.
Yeah. Everyone said, according to Wikipedia, he hasn't written anything since 2012.
A long time.
Yeah.
So what's on my channel? So I've just put a video out about some CGC books I've picked up. I did a video about selling my collection. I've got loads of different stuff out this week. I've got my live shows. We did Boys in the Toy. Sorry, we didn't. We stopped calling it that. We did Let's Talk Toys on Monday. I did my This Is My with John from John's Comics with Kids.
Yeah, brilliant.
This Saturday, I've got my live show. And then on Monday, we're doing our top picks from Phase 2 of the Marvel Universe. So that should be fun. And on Friday night, if you head over to the Attention Seeking Geeks channel, we're doing a review of the first 2 episodes of Ahsoka.
Brilliant. Just before we go to you, James, great man saying Kurt Busiek has done tons. Astro City is a great.
Yeah, I need to
that's
pick up
one I haven't
Astro
read
City.
either.
I think I've read it in a long time.
James, anything coming out, mate?
I do have a video that's going to come out tomorrow at some point. I think I'm gonna upload it. Yeah, it's just want to put together today, and probably my most sort of personal video I've done. So hopefully people will enjoy that. And that's it. I'm away to Legoland at the weekend, so I don't know if I'm going to film some Legoland stuff. But I'm also then going to Wembley on Saturday or Sunday to watch the wrestling. So I'll also see if I can get some video of that, just for like maybe a wee short or something about the AEW wrestling. Yeah. But no, I'm away at the weekend, so it's fun.
Fantastic.
Brilliant.
Fantastic.
Legoland, that's like hell to Peter.
Yeah. Burn it down. Yeah, honestly.
I just don't want to accidentally step on anyone and hurt myself.
No, you don't want that. Efren, anything coming up this week on your channel, mate?
I'm gonna be doing another giveaway on my channel. I got some comic books from Black Saber Comics. They're just a comic book store that he does exclusives every now and then, and he just sends me books every now and then. I tell him I'll give them away. And I bought something at San Diego Comic-Con, which I thought I would never buy. I got to do a video on that. It's one and done.
Oh, yes.
And
you'll be buying more of them, Efren. I know you. You'll be buying next con. You'll be buying another one.
Yeah, I bought it once, and I go, I didn't think I would buy it, but I want it, But it's like, dang it, I have it on my wall already. I showed Peter what it was. I was like, oh my god, my house is too small to buy any more of them. Besides that, in about 2 weeks, I'll be going to up a little bit north in the LA area. I'm going to a comic book convention. If Peter's live that day on Saturday, I'll probably go live for a couple minutes on there. That's about it. Yeah.
See if we can meet anybody else.
Yeah.
I got to get on with these ones when you go live from the cons. I want to say I'm meeting all these people too.
Yeah. Miss Flash Garden. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Simon, anything?
Yes. Nothing planned at the moment, no. So, but
when you said yes, you got me hopes up that you were actually going to do something.
Did I say something yesterday? I can't remember.
No, you just said yes when I asked you if you had anything coming up. You said yes, and then
God,
no.
it's hard work, isn't
it?
I might do something. Yeah, we'll see.
Do something to Simon. Just quick hello to Dr. Von Hoot.
Don't bother Von Hoot. It's a travesty, an absolute friggin' travesty.
Shut up! I want the views, Pete. For saying well done, chaps. I'm glad I was here to witness YouTube greatness. Well, thanks. Simon's YouTube channel has been a great success. Done, pussy. Yeah. Like I say, thanks everybody for stopping by. Don't forget to hit the like button. And until next time, we'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.
I'm going to press that one now.